Hey everybody, it's been a day like just one of Watachi's days, many days he has in a year. Um, there's going to be people. But this video, I don't know how long it's going to be. I got a lot to say. Uh, so you're either in for the long haul or get the hell out now because it's going to be. I got a lot to say. Uh, there's people that are following me, have been following me for quite a while, and I think even a few that knew me on my first two channels and what I was doing on there, that are probably going to fall over out of their seats when they hear some of the shit I say tonight. Uh, First thing I want to do, I want to give a big shout out. This is going to flip you out, to Boardman Township Police Department in Ohio. Boardman Township, Ohio Police Department. Big shout out. I didn't find anything you guys did wrong today, and that's the first time in a long time, man. Now, I haven't had nothing to do with anybody, and while I've been on probation, I've kept my nose clean, and most of the police department thought I moved. That's how that much they haven't seen me. Well, uh, I have to, in order, by me saying that, I gotta kind of tell you. There's no way around it. Uh, when I moved onto this property, I think it was about 4 years ago, and it was in the summertime. And one of the officers, there was four of them, that actually illegally came onto my property. I had it all on video, folks. My son was sitting on the front porch, watched it all happen as a witness. But these cops pulled in 2 doors down from my house. And at this time, I've been filming cops. Every time I seen them, I was stopping and filming on the side of the road, doing tickets and shit. I was doing that. That's a lot of what my first two channels were about. I was holding them cops accountable. Not only cops, sheriffs, any government officials. Well, and when I first moved into this town, I heard some things about Boardman Township Police Department and the things they were fucking doing 4 years ago. And from my neighbors and other people that I met running Uber and Lyft. I've run that shit for 7 years, folks, until last year when they brought these false charges on me. It destroyed my driver's license. But the very first officer that I really had that was Boardman Township police officer, his name was Mike Manis. I was standing on my property videotaping 2 doors down where they were there about an out of control child that today I know the truth. I did not know the truth back then. And Mike actually, he knew that he's been over to this house 2 doors down from my house many times. And so I was pissing off people in the neighborhood for recording what they were doing, but I didn't care. I was recording them for my channel. These guys were going on my channel. But I was standing in my yard 2 doors down. The cops were not called to my house. And I was recording them from my house. Well, an ambulance pulled up with a woman in it. And all the cops that were in the front yard 2 doors down walked towards the backyard of that house. Well, there was only one house between me and no fences, so I walked right down back to my backyard and I was recording them what the cops and the kid were doing in the backyard. Well, as I was walking back there, this lady pulled up in the ambulance, and the ambulance driver, and she jumps out And she starts screaming, "Sir!" You can hear it in the videos, folks. I got these videos on a channel called Boardman Township, Ohio. But she's yelling, "Sir, sir, sir, quit recording, shut that," telling me to shut my video off and shit. And she keeps yelling. Finally, I look back at her and say, "Fuck you." Well, that's when the cops heard me yell, "Fuck you." Now, as I'm walking, they're all walking out of that kid's backyard and walking back towards the front. I come walking back up the front, and Mike Manis is standing in the neighbor's driveway, which is, there's an inch between my driveway and the neighbor's driveway. My neighbors use my driveway all the time because they got one little skinny driveway, and their garage is right up by the house. So they have no room for cars, and they've got 3 of them. Well, my driveway is skinny all the way up until you get to the back of my house, and it opens up concrete all the way to the front of the barn. And so I got a lot of parking areas. So we always park in the back, and if they've got a couple cars ahead of them, and they're trying to get one car out of their driveway, they just drive into mine, drive on out. Well, this officer Mike, man, I want you to know he is a good man, and he's changed since I've moved into this city. You see, people, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Even one person by himself can make changes if you make these people see what they are doing and they're not doing it right. So, but after I yelled, "Fuck you," I come back down my driveway. Well, Officer Mike Manis was in my neighbor's driveway. And I'm telling him, "Don't come on my property. Don't come on my property." And even the lady that lived next door, the property he was standing on, she looks outside at me because she don't have no love for him either. And she looked at me and said, "Are you all right?" I said, "I'm all right. Don't worry about me." And so she went back in. She would have told that cop to get off of her property if I asked her to. But I didn't. I didn't want to bring nobody else in on this. But by the time I'm telling him not to come on my property, by that time I got 4 officers coming towards me on my property. And Mike was one of the first ones that ever started my video. He's the last one I talked to today, folks. And he is a friend of mine. Even he is a friend of mine. There ain't no doubt. He's one of 2 officers that are on the Boardman Township Police Department that the entire Boardman Town Police Department knows, from the chief down, that these 2 guys have kind of befriended me. These 2 officers, Nick Newland and Mike Manis, have kind of befriended me now. So if anything's happening and they're on duty, they come to me because they know I'll deal with them. The other cops, I don't know what they think, but anyway, today, I know you guys saw that earlier video where the father came out, or the old man came out and was yelling at me, telling me I was on private property and shit, and I couldn't be there. And the cops showed up, and I told you what happened, everything that happened, that part of it. If you don't know what, I'm not going back over that. I got a video on here for that. But and they left, everything happened. I came back, made that video, got some new batteries, I went back. I got back there and I walked back 75 feet back into that, or yards back into that damn woods again down this trail. And all of a sudden I got this woman screaming at me now. Bloody, "Get off my land." So I yelled, "What?" Because I can't hear that good from that distance. That's all I'm hearing. And so I walked closer to it, and I hear her yell, "Get off my land." I said, "Come back here and show me where your land's at." Because I was on public access. People, the street you live on, even if it has a sidewalk, or if it has a sidewalk, that sidewalk, even though it's crossing across your property on one end of it, it's not your land. I don't care if you cut grass on both sides of it. It's not, that sidewalk is not your property. You can't tell anybody to get off of that. That's public access. If there is no sidewalk, then I think it's 13 or 15 feet from the center of the road, depending if it's a 2-lane or a 4-lane or whatever. But I think it's 13 to 15 from the center of the road, even up into your fucking yard, is public access. I don't care if it's 10 feet of it coming up into your front yard. You cannot throw anybody off of public access part of the road. So where I was digging today, folks, wasn't even Parks Department property. It wasn't this new woman now that's bitching at me's property. It wasn't the old man's property. It was public access. And the reason why I call it that is because right down, if you walk right down that path, there's markers all the way down through there breaking up all the fucking different lots that are for sale down through there. And it also marks off what the park owns and what these other guys own. So I knew exactly where their property lines, or I knew there was a way to show me where your property is because there was markers for it. But the trail I was on was public access for those other properties back there. That's public property. Nobody can tell you to not. It'd be like trying to tell me I can't walk down my street out here in front of my house. It's public property. I know this shit, folks. I've been studying this shit for a long time, especially when I'm videotaping cops and sheriffs and government officials and shit. I know when I'm standing on public or private property. But back there I wasn't for sure, 100%, but I knew what I was on was either park property or public property. And I had the okie dokie to be on park property anyway. Well, after the big stink her daddy made this morning, and then her starting on me right when I got back, I'm taking everything I can find. I put it on all metals. You walk up that trail, and like I said, it's public access. I stayed only on public access. I didn't even go on park property. There's 50 holes running up through there. I found all kinds. I got a 5-gallon bucket, almost half full over there with shit. I don't even know what it is. I got to clean it up, knock some corrosion off of it, and see what it is like I have the rest of this shit. I ain't even touched it because of everything that's happened today. I haven't even touched it. It's a 5-gallon bucket. Well, it's not half full, but it's between a quarter and a half full. And it weighs about 30 pounds. Anyway, it's hard telling what I got in it. But I was going to make it a point. that I was going to find everything I could find in a short time. And man, I was making short, tight fucking swings. I wasn't missing shit. Nothing on that trail or that path. Well, she calls the cops. Second set of cops show up. 2 more cops show up. Now, they already know me too. One of them, I think, was a sergeant and then another officer. Because, with somebody who was considered armed and dangerous, they have to have at least 2 cops. But the second set comes up, and I think it was a sergeant. He's got this woman, man. They're tired of coming over there. He's got an app on his phone. And this, people, I'm telling you what, the cops were fighting for me today. That ain't never happened. Never. They were fighting for me today. Boardman Township officers, no doubt. Heck, I thought most of these guys hated me from what I did 3 years before that. Before I was put on, before my end of my trial last year. But this guy, I see him pulling in. I'm like, oh shit. So I just sit down on my bucket again, light up a cigarette. I'm waiting for them all to come back. That woman's standing out there chewing them both out. Both them cops. She's chewing them both. He's back there digging. He's taking everything and all this. She was just chewing ass on him and telling him all the way back through there, look, you can see where he's been digging. It's done made the bath look bad and all this shit. This woman spent thousands of dollars on a public access area that she has no control over. She does not own it. It's no way, shape, or form her land. She spent thousands of dollars laying mulch. In some cases, 15 foot wide, but most cases about 6 foot wide, running down this path, public access path. I find out later she done that because she would walk her dog down through there and his feet would get muddy. So she laid thousands and thousands of dollars. I think she said $7,000 worth of mulch down this trail. She was telling the cop. And the cop looked at her and said, you put all this mulch in through here? And she goes, yeah, $7,000 of mulch. And he said, well, lady, you don't own this land. You have no control over this land. It's public access land. Why would you spend that kind of money? And my dog's feet would get muddy, so I put all that mulch in here where I could walk him down through there and go to the potty and shit, and walk him back in and his paws wouldn't be all muddy. And the officer said, oh, well, okay. And now she's showing him where I dug up. It looked like dirt. It wasn't completely covered with mulch and shit. And he goes, lady, there ain't nothing I can do about that. You put this stuff on the wrong property. This isn't your property. He couldn't get her to understand that whatsoever. Her and her dad think they own. They don't even have to buy it. They just own it all back through there. There's like 12 fucking lots of land. Lots. And they're marked, folks. I mean clearly marked. Back through there, and they own like 3 of the 12. And they think they can keep me off of that path, that public access going back to all them lots. What if I want to go back there and buy one of them? Let's say I go back there and buy one of them lots. They can't keep me off of that path, even if I don't buy one. I'm going back there to look. Whatever the excuse, it's a public access to a property. They have no control over it, according to the laws. And the laws backed me today. They actually backed me today, folks. 100%. That second group of cops, heard this woman, man, she was still yelling at me. And they're having to, look, lady, come on. We're going this way. I'm going to show you where your property lines are. This is what the cop's telling this woman. Now, he had an app on his phone. He even wrote it on a card. Boardman Township Police Department card. And it's called Regrid. Regrid. He showed it to me on his phone, the sergeant. He goes, look, I'm going to show y'all. But I'm going to show her first. So I just sat there and let him deal with her. And then they're coming back. I understand that. As they're walking back past me. And I even apologized to the woman again. Even the cops. I said, hey, I didn't come back here to piss nobody off. I didn't mean to make you mad, lady. I told her if you and your father would have came out and had a better rapport with me, you might even talk me into to just leaving. But you didn't. You come out, marched out, barking orders. And finally the officer was showing, he was telling me, he goes, now let me show you now that they got her kind of, then showed her. Or I asked him, can I see that? And so he was showing me, and he's going, look, right here. This right here, and he's looking at his phone. That, from that pole to that pole, that's her lot. Skip one, that's somebody else's. Right here's the name. And he's going, Watachi, look, right here. See, it tells you who owns that lot. I'm like, fuck yeah. What the hell is the name of that? I need that app. He goes, man, this will work all over this, everywhere. It'll tell you exactly who owns the property and where the property lines are. I said, so he wrote it down and gave it to me. And again, the police leave. Buddy, I'm running down through there with my metal detector, and I'm hit everything that makes it go beep, I'm digging up. This woman, every time I put a shovel in the ground, she's madder and madder and madder and madder. Well, she finally calls Dan from the Parks Department, the one that's given me 2.5 months full access, or not full access. There was areas I did not have access to, but he told me about these areas, and said, yeah, you can go. Yeah, we got another right across the street, and then told me about this area over here that they had. It's all woods, folks. The part of it that the Parks Department owns on the strip where I was today is nothing but woods and mud. I didn't even go over in there because it was so freaking muddy. I stayed right on the public access path. It was nice. It had mulch all up and down it. Easy digging. Looked like they put a couple feet of topsoil down before they put the mulch down that trail. Them people had some money. But anyway, this woman gets a hold of Dan at the Parks Department, telling him I'm digging on her land, her father's land. I done told him I don't care about property lines. I'm doing this and screw y'all, basically. She told the guy, Dan at the Parks, but now see the thing about this, folks. See, Dan at the Parks Department is like 78. When I met him face to face, I talked to him on the phone, got his okie dokie to metal detect at the main park area. Or not at the main park. I walked in and asked for that permission. They said, oh yeah, you can metal detect this whole park. So I started with that. But once I found out they owned the stables area over there that I've been working, I went to them and asked them if I could have permission to go, because even though they owned the whole stables, the only part you were allowed in was in the very front, and everything else said no trespassing. So Dan gave me access to the whole property. I started. Now, see the thing these guys didn't know, and the thing that most people know, when I put my mind to something, I go all in. These people didn't know how hardcore freaking metal detecting I was going to go. They thought I was going to walk through looking for a penny or quarter or nickel. Oh no. I was looking for old. Now, what I was running on, it would have picked up the penny, quarters, or nickels, but it's going to pick up on all metals. And I'm pulling all kinds of freaking metal out of this shit, you know. So, Dan, like I said, he gave me access to all this. Well, she finally got, she couldn't call the cops no more, this woman. She was one, she originally, when I first pulled down that road and was looking at it, because I was told by the guy that owns the newspaper, Boardman newspaper, his name's Mike, or no, John. His name's John. And he told me that was the back way into the racetrack, harness racing track that I've been looking for. And he told me there was a water tower back there and shit, and he's the one that told me about that too. And he's the one that told me that the parks department owned a lot of that. And they own like 3/4 of it. And so anyway, I'm working my way down through that trail and I'm picking everything up. And every time I throw a shovel in the ground, this woman's sweating even more. And she's telling, or one of the times she told the cop, well, isn't he, if he finds something, doesn't he have to turn it in to somebody or give it to somebody else or something? He can't keep it himself. And the cop said, no. But the thing of it is I went to the parks department and when I took some stuff in there. First time I went in and met Dan, I took some stuff in there and showed him like that hand crank for a Model A, and I took some horseshoes and shit. And I asked him at that time, I said, Dan, is there anything the parks department wants to do with this? Because I didn't care. Hell, if they wanted to set up a little box in a room somewhere with some of this shit, that would have been cool with me. But he said, oh no, don't even worry about it. Do whatever you want with it. And so this woman was fucking dead wrong again. Her and her father just didn't want me to go back there and find anything. And even her father told me earlier that, well, there's stuff back there and we just don't want you to find it. Well, this woman ended up telling the cops the same thing. There's stuff back there we don't want them back there. She even admitted lying to me in front of the cop the first time I talked to her, and she told me, oh, this place has all been picked clean. She goes, yeah, I told you that because we didn't want you back here. Well, Watachi don't ask permission. Watachi don't ask permission. But I will ask for probation if I get caught. I didn't ask her for permission anyway. I asked everybody else because I'm on probation already. I can't ask for probation again. But so I come down that trail picking up everything. I must have hit 40, 50 objects. I got them. I just I don't know what they are. I ain't even cleaned them up. I ain't even pulled them out of the bucket. But I'm coming back. I get in my Jeep. I grab my phone because I'm going to show people the trail going down through there. And then when I get home, clean everything up, find out what it is. I'm going to add the video to it, what I found, and it was going to go on my Pop MD channel. My phone's been in my Jeep. I've been away from my Jeep. I don't carry that big ass, this phone around. I carry it from the house to the car to my desk here, and then back in the house. That's it. I don't put it in my pocket. It takes my pants down and holds my shirt off of me and shit, and I don't do that shit. So I leave it in my car, my Jeep. I get back in my Jeep and I open up my phone, and I look at it. I got 2 calls from Dan, and a voice message. So I listen to the voice message, and it's Dan, and he's telling me, Brian, I'm telling you right now, I've taken away full access. Now, he told the first 2 cops that showed up I had full access to the park's property. He calls me telling me he's taking full access away. He doesn't want me digging on it. He doesn't want me back on the Parks Department property anymore. and that if I don't get off the property immediately, because he called twice trying to get a hold of me and I wasn't answering the phone, that he's going to call the cops on me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm listening to this voicemail. I'm like, what the fuck? So I call him, get him on the phone. He goes, I said, hey, this is what I, no, I call it, this is Brian. Can I ask what I did? And he said, well, so and so called us. Said, you're digging all over her property, her mother's property. You ain't giving crap about fucking borders, anything. You're messing everything up, making it look like it. I just want you off the property. I said, okay, Dan. I said, let me ask you something. Have you talked to any of the 4 officers that's been involved in today? He goes, no. I said, but would you? And he said, he's like 78 years old. He's scared of his own shadow. He just don't want the fight. He just don't want no fighting. So he'll cut me off because of the Karen. Is that what they have? Karen and what's the other for the guy? Clyde or something? I don't know. Sam Hyde. I don't know what it is. But he tells me, I just don't want you back on the property. I said, all right, man, that's cool. I won't be back on it. He goes, thank you, man. And I said, all right, bye. And he hung up. So now I'm headed towards my house, and I'm like, okay. And before he hung, he told me, I already called Boardman Township Police Department, told them, I don't want you back on any parkland and shit. So I'm like, oh, fuck. These guys are going to end up coming to my fucking house. I don't want cops at my house. So I'm driving down the road and I see this cop. He's sitting off, or it's a cop car. I can't see the numbers. I'm blind, folks. So I flip around. I come back. I'm just going to pull up and tell him, hey, look, tell your lieutenant, whoever's on duty, who I am, and I already know I'm not allowed back on parkland. I pull up and it's Mike Manis, first Boardman Township officer I ever met. And he goes, oh, hey, what's going on, Brian? And I said, he goes, I've been looking for you. I said, what? He goes, I already been by your house twice. I said, man, I was pulling in here to tell whoever this was, I didn't know it was you, just to tell your leadership that I already know I'm not allowed on the property over there. And he asked me what's happening. I tell him. He's like, he goes, I didn't even know that area existed back there, and I made her walk back through there because she kept making claims that you was digging on their land. And he goes, I kept telling him, show me where he was digging on your land. So far, he's digging on public access. Every one of these spots. I go, you've already been over there and my house twice? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, as soon as I came on duty, because it was involved you, Nick wasn't here. They called me. He said, go over here. This woman's called on Watachi again. Go over here and see if you can figure this shit out. So he goes over and he's telling this woman, show me where he was digging on your lot. Show me a hole he dug on your land. And he finally got her to admit, I did not dig on her land at all. He's like, okay. So I'd start telling him everything Dan done. He's going, who's Dan? I said, he runs the whole parks department. And he's going, well, you didn't do. I said, man, I know I didn't do nothing wrong. I said, but I've been told I ain't allowed back on the property. Well, shit just follows you around, doesn't it? What he says. I said, I don't even have to. I can go to the woods. it follows me. I can be in the woods, in the freaking trees, and it follows me. And I go, listen, I got a question for you. He goes, what's that? I go, tell me something. Why in the fuck am I coming up when one of your officers runs my name? Why am I coming up fucking they're notifying you that I'm known to be armed and dangerous? He goes, what? He types my name into the computer. He goes, no. He goes, it ain't coming up as that. He goes, it's coming up with a warning on my name. I go, what name did you type in? He goes, Brian Grooms. I said, type in David Grooms. And he types in David Grooms. He goes, what the fuck? I said, yeah, what does it say? He goes, armed and dangerous. I looked at him and I said, man, that can get me killed. What the fuck's up with that shit? He goes, man, you're right. He goes, I don't know what he goes, I have no idea. He goes, I have no idea. He goes, and he said he'd he's going to check into it and see why under Brian Grooms is just a warning. But under my first name, David, it's a FYI or whatever you want to call it, that I'm considered armed and dangerous. And I asked him, I said, listen, is the Borman Township Police Department scared of me in any way? He goes, Brian, not today. Not today. Well, at one time, when I first came here, I did certain things to hide my identity. I did it on Facebook. I did it on YouTube. I gave fake birth dates, fake ages, fake everything. Well, in Boardman Township, when I first came here, they knew more about me from my channels than they did anything. David Brian Grooms. Even when I gave them the full name, that's as common as John Doe or John Smith. It is. Any one of you, go on Google, run David Brian with an I, Grooms. You'll see, you won't find me.